Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Sports. I am Ralph LaBella.
And I'm Ron Sen. A lot of interesting stuff tonight. We'll talk about the Melrose State Championship in football, but another recognition, Coach Joe Casey, who coaches at North Reading, won his 200th career high school game the other day, which is a big accomplishment. So congratulations to Coach Casey and his staff. It's always good to see local residents doing well. At practice last night, I was a little frustrated. I described myself as the ghost of Christmas pass. So I told the girls, stop dribbling, pass the ball. But there's a lot of talk about Patriots got absolutely hammered this week at Miami. The game was not as close as advertised, and maybe it was just they didn't really need to win the game, and they had a lot of injuries, and they missed Gronk. So it was kind of a travesty.
Yeah, they without Gronk, I mean, they double team Gronk. If Gronk goes down the middle, you see the free safety, one of the safeties coming over to help out a linebacker or another safety. So they double team him, and that leaves more of the field for Cook. You know, so in that game there, no one was open.
Well, they had no passes to the wide receivers, I think, until the second half.
Yeah, until the third quarter.
And even when the passes were made, the coverage was really tight. I don't know exactly what the conditions were that they couldn't get open, but Hogan was coming back from injury, and it wasn't a great effort. And the Patriots signed Kenny Britt this week, so obviously they wanted to do something different.
I mean, they weren't really up for the game. It's disappointing. The fans are up for the game. They were looking forward to, we were all looking forward to watching the game, Monday Night Football, and then they come out and perform like this. It all reminded me of the Buffalo game years ago, the first game of the season when they got clobbered, or the Kansas City game several years ago.
Yeah, when they released Lawyer Malloy.
But, I mean, nothing. I mean, well, Flowers wasn't playing, so there's their pass rush.
Van Noy
was out. They put Roberts on Miami's running back, which was a disaster.
Right. So obviously Roberts is very good against the run, but not special covering the pass.
I mean, were they looking forward to Pittsburgh? Hopefully they were, because, I mean, they better not come out and play like they did Monday.
Well, there wasn't really anybody who was good. Brady had an off game. The offensive line really gave up a lot of pressure. Brady couldn't step up. He had 2 interceptions. Just not a whole lot of positives you can take out of that game.
I was wondering if Brady was hurting, because a lot of his throws came up short. And the one he threw to Cook, the long pass, if he let him, he would have ran out of it. It would have been a touchdown. That was a big play. And then the biggest play was when was a guy that should have intercepted the ball, was thrown right to him. It was a short pass. That would have made it 14-6.
Well, they had Cutler sacked on the blitz by Richards, and he lost him. That was another big play.
Yeah, but that one that Cutler threw right to Guy at around the 10-yard line.
Right.
I mean, he catches it. It was right here.
Yeah,
he walks in for a touchdown.
Defensive linemen aren't usually known for their hands.
If that was Will Falk, he would have caught it.
Probably would have. Anyway.
But it was just a disastrous. But the whole night was disastrous. I started off watching the Celtics against Chicago. And when the Celtics went behind, I said, this is going to be a bad night. I could feel it.
Well, that was nothing compared to earlier in the day when the Yankees signed Stanton.
Oh, I love that.
So as far as a day for Boston sports, it was one of the all-time catastrophes. Talk about, if you watch the games, the NFL is where evil lives. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh a couple of weeks ago was brutal as far as the injuries. Now, Ryan Shazier, the Pittsburgh outstanding linebacker, he just led with his head. He wasn't trying to hurt anybody, but he got obviously hurt enough that he needed to have spinal surgery. But there were other plays where defensive backs were leading with their helmet. People got suspended. Just years ago, I met an NFL cornerback and his wife, and I asked his wife whether there was any pregame superstition or ritual that her husband carried out. And she said, yes, there is one. He likes to file his nails. And I said, well, what's that about? She said, so he can gouge the receivers' faces. So that's the National Football League for you. They don't want to advertise it that way, but it's a brutal game played by brutal athletes, highly skilled, but there's not very much to discourage people from going over the line.
But, it starts, too, with the coaches, the owners. You know how I feel about the owners. They don't
Right.
care about the players. But just think of it. You watch Melrose High School play. You watch Coach Morris and the coaches coach these kids. How often do you see a player going with their head, with their helmet? Never. You never see it at Melrose. They go on, they have great technique, they keep their head up, they drill, they wrap them up and they tackle.
Well, my guess is the National Football League would say we're not allowed to have regular practice very much, so nobody tackles properly because we don't practice tackling.
But they got the dummies they tackle and all that, and they're going in constantly with their head down. I mean, it's crazy. And then the running backs go in with their head, try to go down, and then they collide. But I mean, that's the league's fault. What happened there was the league's fault for not teaching the correct technique in tackling. They let them go in because they figure, hey, it's a benefit to us if they rack up somebody and they hurt them.
And they're talking about developing a targeting policy like they have in college football. So, for example, what Gronk did, he should have been immediately tossed from the game. I mean, it's not a football play.
No.
Okay, we get that he's frustrated because he's held and so forth, but if you're going to go over the line every time you're frustrated in football, everybody's going to be doing that because there's lots of marginal and violent plays that occur during a game.
Yeah, but it's a different world, football. These guys, before the game, I mean, you can't even talk to them, half the guys. They try to get themselves psyched up. So you got someone like Gronk, right, who they call an offensive interference on him when he didn't do anything. They both ran into each other. He never pushed to get good position, and they call offensive pass interference. Then he gets twice. There could have been 2 penalties on that play. So now a guy that's totally locked in, upset already. I mean, it's not a good play by Gronk.
Is there a realistic football movie you think that represents, and we haven't talked about this, the sort of pregame attitude and psyche of football players? Can you think of a movie? I'm sure you must have seen this movie.
Oh yeah, when they're whacking their heads against the lockers.
Any Given Sunday with Al Pacino, and we understand that it's an emotional game and that people have to play in an emotionally charged environment, and the fans encourage it, and television encourages it, and certainly, as you said, ownership encourages it. But there was a defensive back, I believe, after the Pittsburgh game saying, I didn't sign up for this. I signed up for full contact football. This is how I want to play. I don't want referees telling me how to play. Well, my guess is that Dave Duerson's family or Junior Seau's family or Kevin Turner's family probably don't feel the same way.
Well, any defensive player who talks like that's a complete idiot, really. Just think about it. When are they ever defenseless? A defensive player, except when they're trying to catch a guy and someone comes up from the side and blasts them, on a block. Right. But you got an end going up for a pass, looking at the ball, and you got a defensive player coming up and trying to take his head off. All right, and that's the person that's complaining. You got a quarterback. People don't understand. They say quarterbacks should be wearing dresses and all that with the new rules. They can't defend themselves at all. They're looking to pass the ball. They're in the act of throwing the ball or just throw it. And you got these big linemen coming up and crunching them. And if they're close enough, the refs don't call it. Now that first game I think it was against Miami, the first game, Brady got whacked like 3 times and they didn't call it. It definitely should have been roughing the passer, especially when he got kicked in the knee that time. And they don't call it. Then the guy elbows him after the pass from the side. So you have to have those rules. I don't know what these defensive players are thinking about. What, they want to crunch someone when they're not looking?
Well, the game of the week, in my opinion, was probably Indianapolis at Buffalo. I've never seen so much snow on a football field.
I know.
There must have been 4 inches at least. So when Shady McCoy went in overtime for a touchdown run, the Buffalo fans celebrated like the Patriots fans did when Teddy Bruschi scored the touchdown, with throwing the snow up in the air like snow confetti. But it was unbelievable as far as this accumulation and the inability of the grounds crew to try to keep up with it.
It is fun, though. The players had fun. The fans had fun. But how about Garoppolo?
Garoppolo's done nothing but win out there, and Obviously, every win the 49ers get makes the Patriots draft choice a little bit worse as far as their
Yeah.
early second-round choice.
He's thrown for 600 yards in 2 games, right? Close to it?
Close to it. Yeah, I mean, obviously his teammates seem to really have a lot of respect and admiration for him, and he's changed the attitude out there. You know, people are saying he sees the field, he's willing to stand in there and take a hit, and they're very complimentary to his leadership qualities. I think when they won 15-14, I think they said he scored on 5 out of 8 drives.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're field goals, but you know, I'm sure he's, well, assuming he can stay healthy, which is a pretty big presumption for the National Football League. You know, he's had a lot of great training, and you know, we understand that nobody's going to throw Brady out to keep Garoppolo at this point, and nobody's going to spend the money to pay both of them.
No, I mean, if the Pats play a good game against Pittsburgh and win, and they go on, you know, deep into the playoffs, maybe win the Super Bowl to get there, I mean, no one can complain. But if they ever start losing here
Well,
and there,
I mean, injuries have really changed everything this year in the National Football League. Certainly, Deshaun Watson getting hurt at Houston changed their dynamic. Aaron Rodgers is coming back at Green Bay this week. Now, just because he's coming back, you know, you might as well just put a target on him for the other team, because they're going to try to hurt him again, as we've already said. Carson Wentz went out with ACL injury in Philadelphia, so that pretty much dynamites their chances.
see them go at his knee, that cornerback.
Yeah, and then who else is there? Los Angeles, I don't know about them. Minnesota's playing with a backup quarterback already, as far as Case Keenum goes. But I mean, Minnesota's playing well as anybody.
It could be anybody over there, and it's probably going to be the Pats or Pittsburgh here.
Right.
I'm just hoping the Pats can get it back together, and they can't have any more injuries. I mean, they lost Cannon for the season. You know, they better help Waddle comes back.
Well, I think losing Van Noy really hurt them a lot, because he's been their best linebacker.
You know another thing they should do? They should put Karras in there somewhere. Karras is tough. He did a good job, except for that one snap. But he did a very good job blocking. He's a tough guy. If they're having a tough time in that offensive line, slide him in. He can play in almost any position. Why not put him in right tackle? You know, instead of Williams. What's his name?
Oh, Adrian Waddle and Cameron Fleming?
Fleming. Instead of Fleming. I mean, Waddle, if he's healthy, should be there. But, you know, Tooney's been getting...
Yeah, Tooney's...
You know, maybe Karras over there.
Tooney's been a little shaky. Now, we only see what happens. We don't know whether a guy is injured, which probably everybody's somewhat injured this time of the season.
But they need Gronk. I mean, when you have everybody together, if the offensive line is doing their job, with the backs they have, Gronk, and the ends they have, if they're all healthy with Hogan. That was only Hogan's first game back after 7 weeks. So, I mean, if they're all healthy and that offensive line can perform well, then the offense is going to get better than they've been in the last few weeks.
Right. The backs have really been outperforming expectations among Lewis, White, and Burkhead. Burkhead's been pretty good. Gillisley, I presume he's hurt. He missed last week because of something. But or else he's fumbling too much in practice.
Well, the thing with him is that he's not a receiver, and they got 3 backs that can catch the ball, and he's not a back who can really catch the ball. So, and why dress him when you can dress someone else? And with the problems they're having on defense, you know, they need Van Noy back. You know, with Robertson and Van Noy, at least they're okay there. You know, and they need Flowers back.
And on the positive side, Gostkowski seems like he's fixed whatever problem. He looked very solid recently. I mean, it's not only that he's making the kicks, but they're not just 1 foot inside the goalpost right now.
And they should put some blitz packages in. They're not a real big blitz team, but they got to stop blitzing. You know, they got cornerbacks who are supposed to be the strength of their defense. Start blitzing. Get some pressure on the quarterbacks.
Well, obviously there's a lot of concern about a loose tweet from Malcolm Butler.
Oh,
supposedly
he apologized.
So, you know, you never know who has access to some of these accounts. I'm not saying that Butler did, but maybe it's somebody else in his family that's tweeting off of his account. Who knows?
Now, who would you put on Brown Sunday?
I'd I'd probably put
Gilmore?
Gilmore on him.
Would you double him up with a safety over the top?
Yeah.
And then you can shut him down.
Well,
Then Butler's
right.
going to have to shut down whoever he's covering.
Right, whether it's Smith-Schuster will be back from his suspension, and Martavis Bryant is another pretty good receiver.
But they got to put pressure on him. If they just let them stand back there.
Well,
pick 'em
Roethlisberger
apart.
had 500-plus yards last week.
He's not going to have it this week, though. I don't think. I think the Pats are going to be ready. I think they're going to blitz him at times. They got to change things up. I mean, you have to change things up. I mean, if you don't, it's going to make it too easy.
Well,
for
and
them.
if Pittsburgh, we're always affected by recency bias. Patriots played poorly against Miami, so we're thinking they're going to play poorly, which probably won't happen. And similarly, Pittsburgh's defense gave up 38 points to the Ravens, who aren't really a very strong offense. So our presumption is that Pittsburgh's defense isn't that good. Well, week to week, things change a lot.
What do you think about Guerrero and Brady?
I don't know. If they say there can't be that much of a controversy if Guerrero's not allowed to be around. Obviously Brady has a great brand as a quarterback. He has a great brand as an entrepreneur in a variety of areas. And yet, obviously he's sold a lot of books with the TB12 method. On the other hand, he's gone a little bit fringy with concussion water and things like that. So,
I'm wondering if he's upset about that. He can't fly with them anymore. He can't go on the road trips anymore. So,
well, you wonder what Guerrero did or said, or is somehow his influence diminishing the influence of the Patriots trainers and so forth, that they want players to do a certain thing and the players say, no, Tom's guy says we should do this. And
yeah, that's what's happened.
so
That's what's happened. That's the reason they don't want him around as much. I just hope it's not affecting Brady. I don't think. If you watched him last game, you would say, wow, he wasn't into it.
Well, he's been on the injury report a lot, and we don't know. He's not the most mobile quarterback to begin with, and if you have an Achilles injury, that's only going to slow you down more.
They better watch out for Jacksonville too, the Pats, because if they lose to Pittsburgh, they're tied with Jacksonville if Jacksonville wins this week, and I think Jacksonville's a big favorite. Even if they win their last two games, I'm not sure if they will get a bye if they lose to Pittsburgh. I'm not sure if it's either them or if Jacksonville wins out.
Well, Jacksonville is a very good defense, and
their offense is getting better too.
So, it's never that easy. I want to switch gears for a moment. We mentioned that Melrose's volleyball team went to the state championship finals as well. Didn't win, but Lily Fitzgerald was named all-state by the Massachusetts Girls Volleyball Coaches Association, and she's also been named Division II Player of the Year. So congratulations to Lily. She's a player who's dedicated a lot of time to volleyball. She holds the single season record for assists now at Melrose, and she's second career, I believe, behind Brooke Bell, a few assists behind. So she had a wonderful career, team leader, and really was outstanding this season in helping propel Melrose back to the finals again.
The thing that impressed me is I saw that Arlington Catholic match. She's very good in the back row too.
Mm-hmm.
When she goes back there bumping, so she can basically do it all. She'll play in college if she wants to.
Yeah, and she can actually hit a bit from the back row. Yeah. She's got a really strong serve. So I'm sure that wherever she goes, she'll be playing some level of volleyball.
Does she play any other sport?
I don't know that. But, that's been a trend in Melrose that more girls have switched to season all year round volleyball. Erin Torpy, Nicole Abbott. And if you don't play out of season, it becomes a numbers game because there's only so many spots in volleyball. And this year's team had 10 freshmen and sophomores, so they're going to be bringing back a very strong team next year.
Yeah, they're not going to have a senior on the team.
No.
As a matter of fact, they have 3 junior captains.
Right. So they're going to be very, very strong next year. And
in the year after, too.
Right. So for the next few years, it's an embarrassment of riches for Melrose volleyball. We'll be right back.
Kick is away. It's going to Cusalito at the 14. Gets up to the 25, 30, 35. Breaks it out at the 40 and gets taken down at the 41-yard line. To the right here. Seed falls and breaks it out. He needs one block. Stutters, stays on his feet. Good job. Off Stanton, man in motion. Here's Seed again, off left tackle. Gets the first down, stays on its feet. Almost breaks it, gets up to the 50. Dylan Robinson at left tackle. Handoff. And there's no gain. Great job by that defensive line and linebacking corps. See with the boy, handoff. He's at the 50. He's at the 45, 40, 35, 30. Cuts it back in. Gets inside the 20. Down to the 18-yard line. There's Stan. Breaks it out to the right. Looks like he has it. Good job by Stan. That time there, Stan looked for the hole, Mike, and took it and gets the first down. Number 40, Whitley in front, and Kernan in front of Seed. Seed follows them, gets hit. Touchdown, Red Raiders! With 4:09 to go in the first half, Melrose goes up 6-0 over Neshoba. Excellent job at that offensive line.
Mike Coleman attempting the extra point.
Whitley in there at inside linebacker. Witt, Caffey. Bill rolls to his right. Doesn't have anybody open. Runs. Oh, what a hit there by number 72. Michael Sickler hits him high. But Stanton in there. Stanton hasn't run the ball yet. And there he is with the keeper. Stanton's got a little hole. He gets a good gain. 8 yards. Hill back to pass. Under pressure. Gets hit. Tries to spin away. Can't. Quarterback keeper. There's Caffey. Excellent job by Caffey. Will he be following the linebacker? Looks like he might come left here. Off left tackle. Melrose with a big play. Excellent hit there. Cannon in there at fullback. Looks like it's going to be off left tackle here. To Seed. He breaks it to the outside. Has some room. He's at the 40. He's at the 50. He's at the 40. Gets knocked out of bounds. His Seed breaks it out to the right. Has some room down to the 25, 20, all the way down to the 15-yard line. Excellent job of blocking. The 1st and 10 from the 16-yard line in the Neshoba. 2 split to the right, 2 to the left. Seed in motion. Seed with the handoff around the left side. He's at the 15, the 10, the 5. In for a touchdown for the Red Raiders. Okay, getting ready for the point after. Calvert back. Snap to Sullivan. Caffey to Sullivan to Calvert. And the point after is good. Control shot pass. He's going to roll to his left. Looking to pass. Oh, intercepted! That's Cusalito! He's at the 30, 40. He's at the 50, 40, 35. Cuts it in. Gets down to the 30. Cusalito with another great play. He may handle it or see a Seed in motion. Seed around the left side. He has blocking. At the 15, inside the 15, gets down. Inside the 12.
Isaac Seed carried.
Seed behind Sullivan, man in motion, coming left. Seed around the left side. Oh, breaks it back to the right. He may go. He's at the 10. 5, gets taken down at the 2-yard line. Stanton's in the game. It's got to be a quarterback keeper here. It is Stanton. It looks like he's in for the touchdown. We'll be looking for passes here from here on out. Rolling to his left, under pressure. There's Sickler chasing the quarterback. Hill runs out of bounds. It looks, you got Hume in the backfield with him. Now you got everybody to the right. He's been rolling to that side. He does it again. Merrill's looking for it. There's pressure. He breaks back away. Oh, good job there by Rosie. Huge tackle. Hill in the shotgun. And here's his handoff. Oh, nice job there by the defense again. Back to pass is Hill. And he gets hit. And it's intercepted. What a hit. That was number 72. Sickler in there.
And now Associate Director Peter Smith will present the Massachusetts Division IV State Championship Football Trophy to Melrose High School. Congratulations.
Welcome back. Tonight we have Mike Coleman, who along with Ralph LaBella broadcast the championship game at Gillette. So on with the Super Bowl special. Tell us about the game.
Enjoyable, wasn't it, Mike?
Yeah, it was fantastic. You know, it was my third time having the honor of calling a game with you guys, and you know, what can I say? Melrose played a fantastic game.
Played the perfect football game. I mean, the offensive line was tremendous. You know, Isaac was unbelievable running the ball. I thought early on, Neshoba came out early on with both lines trying to dominate the game, both offensively and defensively. And Melrose first possession, they really, I mean, what did we get, 2 yards in the first possession?
Yeah, it was tough. It was a 3 and out, and then almost a turnover on the punt. So they almost got the ball back. And then Neshoba came out and really seemed to be marching with the ball. They looked good. You know, so you know, Melrose was able to stop them. I think it was that first possession too that Neshoba's starting quarterback went down, which certainly was a blow for them. But their backup guy was really good as well. I think the problem is their starting quarterback Belinsky, his #1 target was Hill, the backup quarterback. So once Hill came in, you know, he didn't have as many targets to throw to. But their passing game was much better than Melrose's. Melrose, I think, had 2 passes all game. 1 interception, so they kept the ball on the ground.
I think Melrose had no passing yards for the game, which you don't have to have passing yards if you get enough rushing yards.
Right, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
What do you have, 183, 184 yards for the day? Yeah.
Well, when Neshoba tried to do early on, I mean, they moved the ball from, I believe, their 20-something to Melrose 20, and then Melrose stopped them, and then from there on they couldn't move the ball. They became one-dimensional when their quarterback went down.
Right.
Well, I was in Atlanta. I was trying to hope they would be streamable on NBC Sports Network, but the Celtics were playing shortly thereafter, so it was only on New England Cable Network, which doesn't stream. So,
But they, what I was happy about is they dictated to Neshoba, their whole season they dictated other teams with their lines. They came at teams with their big running backs. And then Melrose, after the first possession on both sides, just dominated the game. They took over on defense, and Neshoba couldn't do anything. Again, they became one-dimensional. And then Melrose just, I mean, the line did a great job. Seed ran the ball well. The fullbacks did a great job blocking. And it was just a perfect game for Melrose. It was great to see.
They did, and you know, as we noted during the game, there were a couple of guys that really stepped up big. I thought Chris Cusalito did a great job on defense. It's the first time that I've seen him return a kickoff. He did a fantastic job on the opening kickoff. You know, you saw some great action on the line. Guys like Adam Caffey, Patrick Byrne, everybody looked really, really good. And what can I say? We already talked about Isaac Seed with 184 yards on the day, and you know, it was just a complete game, in my opinion.
But more than any other sport, I think this program, the football program with Morris, these kids keep progressing year in and year out. I mean, they come back different players. Like Cusalito, #1, he could just kick the point afters. He just got it over the goalpost. He was so small, and now he's become one of the best cornerbacks in the state. Yeah. And Isaac Seed he played cornerback last year, didn't run the ball much, and you look at him this year, one of the best running backs in the state.
Yeah.
And then the offense and defensive lines. I mean, Morris and Kent do an unbelievable job with both of those lines.
Right.
well, they have good integration between the middle school program with progression into the high school, and they've done a really good job keeping the players invested in the community and staying home, because it's hard when you have good players to lose them to private schools, which is certainly something that we see in a lot of sports.
Yeah, it's just amazing when you see it's one of the top, I'd say one of the top 10 programs in the state over the last 7 years. They're battling every year, and it's just amazing to see these kids who are playing on special teams. All year long when they're sophomores, and even some of them when they're juniors, and then the next season they become stars.
Right.
Well, they were able to win so many close games this year.
Yeah.
North Reading, Marblehead, Stoneham. Well, they just knew how to win, and you have to give a lot of credit to the players and of course to the coaching staff to have that attitude and execution.
Yeah.
Well, 3 Super Bowls in 4 years that tells a story in of itself. That shows that the program really is developing. I think you hit the nail on the head. They're doing a great job developing their players. They got a deep bench. You're going to see a lot of guys next year that we didn't see much of this year, and we're losing 2 quarterbacks, but we got 2 guys coming up with Jesse Gardner and Sean Herbert, great players. Cusilito's coming back. He's going to be a junior next year. Isaac, we'll see. You lose a lot of depth on the line in the defense, but both your cornerbacks are coming back. Look for guys like Billy Pesci to step up. He was on special teams
He
this
looked
year.
good.
He's going to be a fantastic defender. Brendan Marr, you're going to see him on both sides of the ball. We saw him on kickoffs and kick returns this year. I expect to see Melrose to pick up right where they left off.
Who was 42? The lineman.
I think it's Peter Lewis.
Lewis.
What year
yeah.
is he?
I'm not sure what year.
They
it
have
is.
3 or 4 linemen that are coming back, right?
Yep. Yep.
Because I remember they had 2 or 3 good sophomores last year.
Yep.
But you're going to have your whole defensive backfield back. You're going to have
Basically,
Pete as free safety.
Yep.
You're going to have Cusilito,
Isaac.
Isaac.
Yeah. You lose a couple of the linebackers. You got Drew DeFrea, who's graduating, but I expect you might see Pesci step into one of those roles, and he's going to be a beast on the inside.
Well, it'll
for
be
sure.
interesting to see whether there's any restructuring of the playoffs, because there's some people who feel, I think it was Danny Ventura who felt that the expansion to 8 from 6 divisions wasn't really necessary. And then, for the most part, the Eastern Mass teams dominated the Western Mass teams, and those are the teams that got byes, I think, into the finals.
Well, next year now they won't get byes, right? It'll be either the North or the South.
I don't know how it's going to work. So,
But Neshoba won it last year, didn't they? Didn't they win it last year? Or the year before? One
Yeah,
of
I think it was the year before. Yeah.
They have a good team, but Melrose just...
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, Melrose put up 21 points. What did we say? Neshoba had 5 shutouts this year. The average less than 10 goals, 10 points. So,
well, Middlesex League teams did really well in the postseason. Aside from Melrose, Stoneham and Watertown both did very well. Lexington did well until they lost to Everett.
right.
Freelich got named the Gatorade Player of the Year as the quarterback there.
Where's he going, do you know? What a great player he is.
I want to say somebody told me that he was going to Merrimack, but I don't know if that might not be right. So, good for him. I mean, good for all the players that had a lot of success, and the coaching staff never gets enough credit. It's always easy to get blame when things don't go well, but you don't really get enough credit when things do go well.
Well, I'll tell you, that coaching staff's unbelievable. And I remember, like, 15 years ago, when they were getting hammered by Wakefield, although they were a couple of years, they had a great team. The year they tied 14-14 was one of the best teams they've ever had. I mean, and then Wakefield goes to I guess that time was a Super Bowl too. Wakefield went, but that Melrose team could have been the best team he's ever had.
Yeah.
And they were unlucky because they were up 14-0, and then the whole field was like a little lake, and they couldn't run the ball anymore. They were a great running team. And Wakefield returned a punt because it was slippery. But in that was probably the best talent he ever had. He had LeBlanc and Bastieri on that team. Kent at fullback, one of the Kents.
Yeah.
His offensive and defensive lines, they were powerhouses.
Sure.
They killed everybody during the year. And they had one tie. They were undefeated except that one tie, and it was because of the torrential rains during that game.
Right.
But,
Any other comments? Tell me about the broadcast conditions.
oh,
Yeah.
great. It
Yeah,
was
it was
fun. Right near Andy Gresh was in the next booth over. And, I talked to him for about a minute, before the game. They were having their dinner. They had a big spread in there.
Yeah.
But he's a good guy. I like Andy Gresh. Too bad they got rid of him on 98.5.
Right. And as far as the turnout,
It was good turnout.
Oh, yeah, fantastic. I mean, Melrose really, they traveled well. It looked to me that the Melrose side had 50% more people there than the Neshoba.
How about the view, though, huh?
Yeah, well, it was a great day. I mean, you remember the first time we went, we had rain. Both times we played previously, it was later in the day. This was an 11 o'clock game. It was a clear day. It was a little cold out, but certainly, Melrose is no stranger to playing in the cold weather. And we traveled well. Coach came with a team that was prepared, and they executed their game plan. And it was a great day to watch football. We actually drove home and got caught in the parade, if you will, the escort, with the police escort. And it was kind of a neat thing to see these kids going all the way back to Melrose with the police escort. So it was just a great day for football, and it's great to see Melrose bring home the championship.
Well, I think there's a spillover from football to other programs, so that when the football team does well, the enthusiasm level in the community and in the schools a little bit higher too. So some of the smaller sports don't have that degree of influence over the general feeling.
Right, I mean, you had the volleyball team that went to the state final game, lost in 5 sets. Then you have the football team. Then the swimming team did really good.
Right.
The track, was it the cross country?
Cross country.
Did very well. But, I mean, they've just been a terrific season for.
Thanks to Mike Coleman for joining us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The baseball winter meetings are over. The Yankees secured Giancarlo Stanton, and the Boston Red Sox have made their statement. They've done nothing. We don't want to rush into anything. Don't have a power hitter. We're going to rely on all the players who didn't hit home runs last year to hit home runs next year. Good plan, Dave.
Well, I was very happy. The one person after the playoffs I wanted the Yankees to get rid of trade was Castro. Did I know they were going to get Stanton for Castro? When I heard that, I said, you've got to be kidding me.
Well,
I love that they got rid of Castro, even though Castro had a pretty good year in the playoffs. Didn't come through.
And Stanton's contract is backloaded, so the Yankees are not paying as much up front. And to make it even worse, Stanton's $25 million at the beginning of the contract isn't going to seem that bad when Machado and Bryce Harper are getting $35 or $40 million a year. So people are going to say, how are they getting this money when Stanton's only getting 25 to 28?
No, Stanton has a 10-year 10 years left at $270 million.
It's 279, I think. Minus, they got a little rebate from
$30 million.
Yeah.
$30 million. So when you look at it over the 10 years, the Yankees are probably paying $25 million the most, $25 million a year. Well, they were paying A-Rod $32 million into his 40s. All right, so you look at that deal for the Yankees, it's a great deal. Stanton's 27, right?
He's 27 or 28. He's pretty young. I don't see any downside at all for the Yankees. All right, people are going to say he's been hurt. In the past, he was hit in the head. Well, he's got the big football helmet that he wears now, so I'm not worried about that. And I think it's a great deal for the Yankees. The Red Sox are just lucky that Jacoby Ellsbury's turned to be nothing for the Yankees over the past few years.
Well, the thing, too, is that it'd probably be Ellsbury and Hicks, unless they trade them, will be backups in the outfield. Because you have to figure that Gardner's going to be going to center.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a couple of more years, unless they trade him and keep Hicks in center.
I mean, Judge is outstanding defensively in right field as well. So
Stanton will be in left, probably?
I would think.
He's a good defensive player, too, I hear.
I haven't seen him enough to have any comment on
Then
that.
either Gardner and Hicks in center, Ellsbury's backup, unless they trade one of them. They traded Headley and saved $13 million there. So they'll have Frazier at third, Gregorius at short. Hopefully Reyes is healthy, the number 2 prospect in all of baseball.
Well, you wonder if they're going to try to free up money and go after Machado now.
No, Machado's going to be a free agent next year.
No, I mean,
years.
but with an agreement for an extension.
Yeah, but why give up players now when you don't need to? I wouldn't go after him now. Unless they can get him without giving up players like Reyes. I don't see how they're going to get him.
Well, I don't think you're going to get – Baltimore supposedly wants 2 young starting pitchers, which, I don't know what you're going to get from
The
anybody.
Yankees are crazy to go after him now. They're crazy to go after him now because what they have now, when you talk about hitting, they have plenty of hitting. They have Frazier at third. He strikes out a lot. He'll hit 25 homers. But people don't understand. They're saying, with Judge and Stanton, back-to-back batting second and third, because Judge batted second a lot because he walked 120-something times. So they batted him second, even though he had that big power season. But the two players who may be better than both of them, Sanchez and Bird, right behind them.
Well, they're not going to be better than them, but
Well,
they're both really good, talented players.
You don't know.
Well, the good Yankee fans can be happy that Sanchez no longer has Girardi in his face, and I think that was a relationship that didn't work at all.
Ron, the key with Sanchez from being one of the top 2 or 3 hitters in baseball is to stay away from the low breaking ball that he chases. If he can stay away from that pitch, and I'll tell you, Judge improved an awful lot, with the strike zone as the year went on. And remember he had that bad slump?
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the year, he was staying away from those low cutters. If Sanchez can learn to stay away from them, he will be an unbelievable. You're talking about 35, 40 homers hitting 280, 290 with Sanchez.
Well, certainly the Yankees, I think, are the betting favorites to win the World Series right now.
Well, the thing is pitching, though.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. Obviously, there's injuries. They have a new manager, and I think managing is so overrated. What are you going to do? What's the big deal? You're not deciding to bunt or steal when you got guys who can hit the ball 9 miles.
Yeah, but I was so down on the 2 people I was down on with the Yankees was Castro in the playoffs and Girardi. I couldn't stand his coaching style. And people say, well, he lost the players. He doesn't make good decisions. He makes terrible decisions in games. I've seen most of their games. I was praying they got rid of him. And people in work say, well, hey, they made the playoffs. You got to go by that. I said, you don't see the games. He's worse than Farrell as a manager. If you saw both teams. And then when they got rid of him, then they all agree with me. Geez, he must have been pretty bad if Cashman's getting rid of him. And that's the truth. You watch his decisions.
The 2 names most commonly associated with the Red Sox right now are Hosmer and J.D. Martinez. To me, Hosmer, they're saying, oh, hit 40 home runs in Fenway. Please.
Martinez is the guy. If they ever get Martinez, they've had a great year just with Martinez.
Martinez has very comparable statistics over the past 3 years to Stanton. Now, I know the Red Sox are going to say, well, he's not that good in the outfield.
Put him at first.
Well, anyway, if they did get him, then they would probably move Benintendi to center, trade Jackie Bradley Jr. for somebody else and Jackie Bradley Jr. and something else for a first baseman.
But I'll tell you, Martinez is I remember when he played with the other Martinez that used to play with the Red Sox, right? And he played when he played Detroit.
Victor Martinez.
Cabrera.
Right, and the Red Sox, they have to hope that Cora somehow can reach the younger players in a way that Farrell didn't seem to be able to. Time will tell on that.
I don't know about Cora now with that thing that came out.
Well, the deal with one issue for Boston media is constantly trying to insinuate themselves into the story. So the media is trying to do digging on Cora right now. Cora had I won't say it was a price like, but apparently some conflict with reporters on a bus ride or something like that.
Then he screamed at the manager.
Well,
and he was drunk.
Well,
that's pretty bad. He'll get along good. He'll get along good with Price.
It seemed like they were able to keep it in-house until after the season.
I was surprised when I heard it because I always liked Cora.
Well, we'll see how it goes. And then I don't think the manager is that big a deal as far as maybe a couple wins a year. And the Red Sox are going to need to get the hitting if they want to compete with the Yankees. Now, obviously, they're going to miss Pedroia for at least half the season because of his knee surgery. And they're talking about whether they're keeping Edwin Nunez on the bargaining table. Now, Nunez didn't look good. I mean, they tried to bring him back, and he couldn't run.
But
they said
I wouldn't get rid of him. I'd sign him.
No, I hope they sign him, but I hope he's healthy. He had a patellar tendon injury, supposedly.
But he was big for them. He was a big pickup. Him and Devers in the middle of the season.
Right.
Getting those 2 guys, if it wasn't for those 2 guys, the Yankees would have won that division.
It's obviously the Red Sox fans are really enthusiastic about Rafael Devers, young player, good power, mediocre glove at third right now. But, we usually have to see a guy a couple times through the season to see how they do with the adjustments. To me, it looked like they were trying to throw him fastballs up and see if he could deal with those or not.
Well, the thing with the Red Sox, though, what I look at, it's a lot of ifs, but they could have the best pitching staff in baseball if they all come through. you know, and they got a good bullpen, you know, especially if those guys stay healthy. And you look at that, the Yankees got the power over them, but it's still going to be a battle. I mean, it's not a given that the Yankees are going to beat them out. They're going to have to get the pitch in the Yankees. They're going to have to hope that Tanaka has a good year, Severino, Gray, Montgomery.
Well, we know that Ohtani signed with the Angels, and now they're saying that he may have some ulnar collateral ligament, that's the Tommy John ligament, damage to his pitching arm.
Oh, that's great.
Which now, apparently, before these teams acquired these guys, they do MRIs of their shoulder and MRIs on their elbow. And then, so I guess there's controversy. Some people say it's damaged, other people says normal for the wear and tear of pitching at that age. I don't know about that.
Well, look at Tanaka for the Yankees. They, you know, he had that arm that was tired, whatever, came on strong at the end of the year.
Well, Sale, you know, has a funny delivery, and you're always only one pitch away from blowing out your arm.
Well, Steele, he snaps the ball every time. His arm, I mean, he comes true. I don't like that, and you know, and you worry about. I mean, he got tired at the end of the year. When you pitch over 200 innings nowadays, you know, that's why Price has always had a tough time in the playoffs. But this is the one year that he had a rested arm.
Right, and he was very
and
good.
they didn't start him. They should have got him to start. I mean, I was saying that right from the beginning when he came back.
Well, we'll switch gears, talk a little bit about the Celtics. Ralph went to the game last night. Ralph is not the world's biggest Brad Stevens fan. I'm really good with Brad Stevens, but it's still, at the end of the day, it's the Players' League. And last night they sat Horford. I know it gets sensitive as far as NBA teams sitting the star player, but you know, I don't really see anything wrong with it. They had Kyrie Irving sit a day on Monday, I think.
But, you know, Stevens I look at and I say, okay, I'm hoping he just wants to keep his players fresh. Because a lot of times they'll play, you know, the stars in the league play 37 minutes, probably an average of stars, 35 to 37. You know, Kyrie's not even averaging that. You know, he averages less. But a guy like Brown, the thing that gets me about Stevens, now Brown's 21, just turned 21 years old, having one of the best games he's had over the last month. Had some great games early in the season. So he's playing great. He sits him out the first 8 minutes of the first quarter. Now, the game's still in hand. I mean, the game's not in hand at that time.
Well, I think,
and he brings Brown in when they're up 6 points with 4 minutes to go in the game. He brings Irving in with just under 7 minutes to go, sits him out 8 straight minutes. Some of those players get a little steel when they're sitting out there.
Well, I think that the bench was having a good game. Shane Larkin, who I'm not real high on, was terrific last night. Tice had a good game, and you know, they were holding Denver off. Denver, I think they were playing on a back-to-back too. So
Denver's been playing really well.
I think
too.
Stevens was just trying to keep the minutes down and trying to conserve energy for the whole team. Now, the Celtics have been fantastic. Nobody, I don't care who you are, nobody would have said after the first 2 games that they'd be where they are right now without Hayward. And you know, nobody's counting on Hayward to coming back, even though he's out of the walking boot. To me, physically, he may be ready earlier than he's ready psychologically to make the step back. You know, first time he has to go up for a lob, he's going to be wondering what's going to happen when he lands. So.
Yeah, but you know what I'm hoping? I think I'm hoping like he's healthy a week before the playoffs, which he could be. You know, thinking of it logically, he could be healthy. I'd make him the 6th player this year, coming off the bench. Then you got it. The reason why I would do that is because the smartest player in the Celtics right now, Horford's pretty smart, not as talented as people think he is, but he's smart and talented, but not in the same class as Irving or Hayward.
At the end of the game, or near the end of the game, Smart threw a bounce pass to Irving on a back cut into traffic. Somehow Irving got a left-handed. I have no idea how he did that. As far as we've really got, because we get to see Irving on a regular basis now, you can see the vast level of his skills.
Oh, when he finished, when you're there at the game and you watch him, you say, how the heck's he going to make that? Not like on TV, they isolate right on that area, but in the game you can see the whole floor and you're watching it and you're saying, there's no way, and he goes in there and either left or right he can finish. But the thing, but we're getting back to Hayward, When you take Irving out, which he's usually taken out with 3 minutes to go in the first quarter, put back in with 7 minutes to go in the second quarter. So he's usually out about 8 minutes, each half. But you think when Hayward comes back, if he's a sixth player, Hayward could go in when Irving comes out. Now you got another smart player in there that can run the offense. He can run the offense like a point guard. I saw him against Golden State last year when they had him handling the ball in the half court and even bringing it up at times. So you got a guy who can score, who can deliver the ball, keep everybody in the game. But what I want to say, Larkin should go ahead of Rozier right now. Larkin is a better NBA basketball player than Rozier. There are games that Rozier is really on, but he's not consistent enough. And the one thing Rozier doesn't do, he has never set up a teammate on his team. He doesn't know how to set you up. He doesn't get the ball. He's thinking of scoring all the time, which maybe Stevens wants him. You're with the second unit, I want you scoring. But you can cut to the basket, be wide open, you're not going to get the ball. The only time Rozier passes the ball is when he's stopped from doing anything, and he's stuck, and he has to stop his dribble, then he'll pass to who's ever there.
Yeah. He's sort of the ultimate new age point guard who's all about scoring first and passing second, third, or fourth.
Ron Larkin's, I'm telling you, by the end of the year, I mean, Rozier's going to have his games. When you're going to go in with a team, he could have his games where he can hit three-pointers in a row. But he's not consistent enough. Larkin is consistently very good defensively, penetrates dishes, can go to the basket, but he's not out of control like Rozier
Do you think
is.
it's going to make much of a difference if Marcus Morris is out for any extended amount of time?
Yeah, it will, because with Morris had that bad game when they won 2 for 9 when they lost. They lost the game before he got injured again. But the one thing I like about Morris, he can get his own shot off. He can get his own shot from outside. He's no star, but he's good. He's good with the second unit.
Right.
And so, you have him. I hope Larkin starts getting more minutes.
Well, the person we haven't talked about is Marcus Smart, who, to me, he seems like he's taking fewer bad shots, and he's not trying to jack up a three every time he's in range of the basket.
But we're at the game, right, yesterday, and all the fans around me. And I'm saying, Brown's hot. He's taking it to the hoop. He's dunked the ball a few times, hit a jumper. And I'm saying, Smart's got the ball. You would think, he's a pretty good passer at times,
Yeah.
Smart. You would think he would look for Brown at times. I'm not saying just get it to him every time. But he's got the ball, and he took 3 shots in a row. And he has no touch at all. I mean, there's games where you can, like anybody, if you're on, there's games where it's a three-pointer, but didn't even come close on the 3 shots. And I'm saying to myself, you got Brown, who's playing unbelievable basketball right now, and you'd rather take a pull-up jump shot when there's still 15 seconds on the shot clock? I mean, and even the fans around me. And I've gone to 4 games now, and every time he goes up to shoot, you can hear all the fans go, oh, no, don't. Everybody is saying, don't shoot. But I like him at times. I still can't figure it out.
He's a winning player, but he's not a good shooter. I mean, he's just not a good shooter, but he's a winning player.
And Stevens loves him.
Well, he does things.
You got to see. I still can't figure him out. In all the years I've been watching basketball, I can't figure out if I like him. I don't.
I don't even know who you could compare him to over the years. Maybe like a smaller version of a Shane Battier or somebody like. I mean, he must be so annoying to play against.
Oh, you know where he's great, Ron? He can switch on to anybody. When he's out there, he's going to switch on to anybody, and he's going to get a big rebound. He's going to take a charge. But then when you go down the other end,
right.
He kills the offense half the time.
Well, he's turned into a pretty good pick and roll player, beyond what I expected. And he's not bad on, if he's got a small guard posting him up, he's pretty good that way.
But what's funny? Last week I'm going, they got to trade him. Ainge just got to let him go. You can't sign him. And then I see him play, and I see how hard he works on defense. And I said, well, yeah, we do need him on defense and at the end of the games. So I still can't figure it out.
Well, the other NBA story of the week, which is Danny Ainge was practically laughing today on the morning radio show, is the Ball brothers in Lithuania.
Oh.
I mean,
Did they already go?
yeah, I mean, they're, I don't even know what to say. Apparently, the conditions aren't that great. It's hard to get even practice time because the teams don't always want to pay for the gyms and stuff like that.
Wow.
And the enthusiasm level playing in the B League in Lithuania isn't exactly like playing at UCLA. Now,
What's he thinking about?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I get what Lithuania is trying to do. They're trying to build up their social media presence, their cachet, bringing in these American players, but neither of the balls have really proven anything. The little one, Leangelo,
Is he,
from
was
what
he a
I've
senior in high school?
I thought he was a junior in high
Junior?
school, but whenever I've seen him play in clips, he basket hangs, and he gets the ball over half court. He's just looking to shoot. So okay, he's got some ability, can handle the ball a bit, doesn't play a lick of defense. To me, he doesn't look like anywhere close to being an NBA player.
You hear Charles Barkley, Chris, and Lamar.
So, I think it's the Lakers have set up a no interviewing the father zone. So the father sits in the stands, and the reporters can't go near him because, they just think that it's so frustrating to try to deal with the father.
Lonzo's going to be good, though.
Lonzo's
gonna be real good.
Nobody has ever said he's a bad kid. So
And he's going to be a real good. If they work on his shot,
right. They have to break his shot down and start over, but he can really see the floor. He can really pass the ball. I think he'll be adequate defensively if he works at it. So, I mean, he's going to be a really good player. I don't
they
think
got lucky with that second pick.
but he's not going to be as good as Tatum is, though.
No, did they get lucky with that second pick, though? Who could be as good as Tatum? That
Yeah.
kid. I saw him in the summer. I forget his name. He's the second pick they got is really good.
Oh, Ojale?
No, I'm talking about the Lakers' second pick. He's starting. He's scoring a lot of games.
Kyle Kuzma.
Kuzma, I tell you, he's real good.
Yeah, he's a real good player.
Really good.
So, well, I've enjoyed being with you tonight. I'm Ron Sen.
And I'm Ralph LaBella, and thank you for watching Let's Talk Sports.